we do have in our midst. Again, I never knew I would live to see this day because I have a legend. I described him as a legend the last time he was on this show, and he's back again with the legendary impact. And that is none other than Mr. Sunday Chukwu, the sculptor behind the Ijele Masquerade Sculpture that has just been installed on Wasata. The person, let's call him the creative hands, the hands that welded everything, that put that sculpture together, the injuries, the burns, the late nights. There he is. There he is. Good to see you.
Thank you. I'm humbled.
Yeah.
Big names. I'm just this artist that is trying to make impression.
How did you feel?
Made impression, by the way.
You did make that impression. How did you feel about the unveiling ceremony that took place yesterday? Your first reaction when let's say the material was finally taken off this grand Ijele?
A dream come true. It's been one of the highlights of my career as a sculptor. I've done a whole lot, but this one is different. And I took myself out from being the sculptor that made the sculpture to enjoy the sculpture as just a normal person, an onlooker seeing it.
And how do you feel about that? How do you see what you, being an ordinary person, seeing your work like from the other side? Like,
no,
Oji,
you have to come in there. Did you say ordinary person?
No, I'm like, he wants to be the ordinary.
Did you say ordinary person?
Look at the sculpture. The sculptor.
I'm not ordinary.
Hold up.
I am like, compared to the guy, the man in front of me, I'm less than ordinary. Let's correct it.
I'm going with what he
I'll
said.
keep repeating it till you do it.
He removed
I will keep repeating it. What is the correct adjective?
For what?
For describing Sunday Chukwu.
Sunday Chukwu
is a what?
He's a legend.
Good.
A legend.
Go ahead.
But the legendary him left that legendary sculptor he is, right, to see things as an ordinary individual right there in the street. Hold up.
Oji.
It's just him being humble right now.
Oji.
So,
Oji, you want to twist my brain now.
No, it's fine.
He left the legendary person he is to become what?
Just an ordinary individual as us.
Okay, you're comparing, okay, it's not that he's an ordinary individual.
No, he's not ordinary.
This is a simile.
Yeah.
But he's legendary.
He's
legendary.
He has to leave the pedestal.
He's legendary. Okay, he left the pedestal.
He has to leave his tremendous self, the highest of himself, the legendary self, to come out.
I thought that was what you said.
And he just wanted to be humble.
I thought that was what you said.
I mean, onlooker. And by the bystander, right?
Great.
Watching what he did, right? To, entertain himself.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm asking right now. You as an ordinary individual, living your legendary status, right? And watching the sculpture, let's say that it came from another sculptor, right? Watching the sculpture, how do you feel? How do you perceive it? How did you enjoy it? Do you see how perfecto this is? Or?
Well, very excited. I felt great that, I was able to achieve it. And I couldn't even place how and when it happened. I can't replay back. I can only remember the creative process. But I was so excited and I was happy. And I told my wife and I told the kid, I said, at this point I say, Sunday, with all humility, I am proud of you. I am very, very proud of you. And going through social media, getting messages from friends, loved ones all over the world, Sunday, we've seen this stuff. It has been unveiled. Congratulations. I feel so excited and I feel very good. And I'm grateful to the Almighty.
All right. Now, people are looking at the masquerade and they're still wondering about sustainability, especially when the rainy season comes. I know you answered this question during the last AM show, but, they're still thinking that there's so many aesthetics on it. You have the figurines, you have the mirrors that I know. Automatically, when you see the rays of light from those mirrors on the masquerade, you have to look. So it's like you look at it and you're like, that is your reaction because the light is just, it's just that, honestly, once you see the light reflecting off those mirrors, it's just like you have to move back.
Exactly.
So no matter where you're looking, once you pass that masquerade, you have to do eyes right or eyes left.
Have you actually been like in presence of an Ijele? Like when Ijele is moving? Have you actually been in presence of Ijele?
I have seen, things that seem to be Ijele's, but I've not seen
the real Ijele.
Yes.
You understand, like, what it depict there was near perfect.
All right.
One says, like, there's in arts, they don't call any work perfect.
But then also, still regarding to that perfection, sustainability of that perfection, when the rainy season finally befalls us.
Great, thank you. I would answer that question again. The quality of materials that were used to do those works were interesting and durable materials that would stand the test of time. While I was making this piece, I was thinking about 100 years from now. So in the last time I visited, I told you in details the materials I used. But for the coming weather, the work is 6 weeks old in that spot. Now, the work is 6 weeks old. It was installed November 5. Today is December 20th. Now, the questions or the fears are reducing because it was like, oh, will this stand for a week or two? And now it's 6 weeks. And it's going to have many more years to come because of the quality of material and work that went into it. Because the convention, even the masquerade that you saw came around that environment yesterday, at some point the masquerade had to go to a particular place to get some rest.
Yes.
So imagine carrying that stuff. And the Ijele Masquerade the sculpture that I've created would be like that for many years.
What do you think the masquerades came to do? We understand that you have said clearly that it's going to last. You have 100 years in mind and beyond. But the masquerades that we saw at the scene, what do you think they came to do? Did they come to welcome this new masquerade?
I'll answer your question. However, there is still a space for what we call time to time to check the piece, and also it has about 4 different coats of paint. Definitely time to time we need to touch up to maintain that script nature.
Who would be in charge of that? You?
No, it's the government who has commissioned me to do this work.
But would you rather that you carry out that maintenance yourself? Would you be fine? Being an artist yourself, would you be fine someone else doing that?
I like to see this piece. I like to see, definitely I'm this person that know about the work, know different nook and crannies of the work. So definitely I should be the one to do whatever maintenance work.
Before they use the wrong shade of yellow.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I think I had some dreams some night bags where I saw some dents and all that around. I was careful. I said, what's happening? So, but it turns out it was like a dream. And I said, oh, it's not going to happen that way. So we don't want to see the more you look, the less you see. So definitely maintenance have to come in. Now, answering your question, when I saw the masquerades coming in, it's the biggest of the masquerade which is on display as a sculpture. So every other masquerade wants to say, I'm here.
Yeah.
You're here. We're here to say, welcome you. So I think that is the Ojonu masquerade and some other masquerades that were coming. And I think, when the Ijele Masquerade goes, we'll have these music makers called the Akorecheni that goes around with it. So as it was unveiled, music makers came and they were showing excitement and saying, this is our, this is Ijele Masquerade. We're happy that you're here and we're here to say, you're welcome. So it's that masquerade now is part of that society, that community, that masquerade, because it performs every day. Now, normally you have it come maybe during the Ofala festival, but now you have an Ijele Masquerade performing for the people of Enugu non-stop.
Yes. All right. Now, let's head into another side of things. Now, the cultural prime minister of Ogwinike, Mr. Bennett Ungu, says that indigents of Obiagu were not consulted to share their thoughts ahead of the installation of the Ijele Masquerade sculpture at the Onu Asata roundabout in Enugu. Mr. Ungu, speaking on behalf of the group, believes that the outlook of the masquerade does not agree with its traditional concept. The detailed interview.
They did not inform us before putting that thing. That Ijele is not from Enugu State. It's not known for Ijele. Ijele is from Anambra State, not from Enugu. We call our own Egugu, Omambara, like their governor. They call their own Omambara or Enyim. So we don't know anything about this. And whoever built that thing, like our people used to say in Igbo language, all Oroma, because that is not complete masquerade. That thing there is not complete masquerade. Because people are not supposed to be seeing some certain things inside the masquerade. They are spirits. They insulted the masquerade. So they are supposed to go back there. They know what they're supposed to do in front of that masquerade. It is not supposed to be there. Because they have consulted us. No matter we are not doing Ijele, I'll tell them what to do. So they're supposed to go back. People that knows Ijele will not be happy with them. So that's what I would tell you.
Sunday. Now, he's saying that the Ijele Masquerade should have been more covered, that basically the loins of the Ijele were out, that you can see within the Ijele, that it should be covered up, you know, we heard him also say that this masquerade belongs to Anambra and not Enugu. But the Obi of Onitsha, during the unveiling, said that this masquerade is peculiar to Enugu and Anambra. What is your reaction to this other side, this group that is not comfortable with the way that you handled the masquerade design?
The most important thing that we should know as a people, that we are Igbos. Enugu, Anambra, Imo, Ebonyi, Afia, where in one day you travel the length and breadth of Southeast Nigeria. So saying you're from this part or you're from this part, I feel it's not significant for me, because we are Igbos. And what is the most important thing we're trying to do? There is cultural artifacts and antiquities are going out of extinction. And what we're doing as an artist, myself, is best I can is to present a sculptural representation. In Chinua Achebe's case, he wrote Things Fall Apart. In Chimamanda's case, Half of a Yellow Sun, and many others. We have memoirs by people who were soldiers in the Civil War. Our stories have to be told, one way or the other. How are you telling the stories? I have seen Ijele Masquerade perform, and I have seen different kinds of the Ijele Masquerades, from different nook and crannies or from different communities. However, in my research before creating the masquerade, I researched a whole lot. There are symbols and ideograms in these masquerades that depict various stuff. And what I picked was, we have the Enyi, we have the stars, we have the sun, which I've seen in different kinds of Ijele masquerades. However, there's what we call the Insibidi and the Uli symbols. Before the advent of civilization and westernization, the Igbo people had a sophisticated form of civilization, which include the method of communication and passing on information. I'm asking you a question. Where is it today? We use alphabets, Greek, we have hieroglyphics of Egypt, we have the Roman figures of the Roman Empire. We had sophisticated empire, and Igbo people were powerful people all over the world. They are known for who they are. However, if we start saying this is from this place, then we're bringing division amongst ourselves. What I did with the Ijele Masquerade was to bring back some of these ideograms of the Uli and Insibidi symbols that represent wealth, greatness, love, ifunanya. Now, the Igbo man has a way of getting out of whatever trouble he finds himself with just a proverbial expression. For example, there is a chaos and they're going to bring peace. The person says, "Onye biri kai be ya biri," live and let's live, which is there in the white man's parables. We also have ebe belu go belu, kesi ibe ebe na, ukukwaya. Let the eagle perch and let the kite perch. The one that says the other person, we have there are so many proverbial expressions. If you speak with old people, they will give you a very short story of a line that will solve a problem for you. So now, these are things that, if we hold very dear to our heart as Igbo, we would have a better society. If we have it in ECB symbols in the public space, people know that, oh, this is about unity, this is about love. You see, people see this thing continuously.
But before you go ahead, the focus for this critique by the Prime Minister, the cultural Prime Minister, is that seeing the figure within.
Okay.
That it appears as if there's a strong individual holding.
There was an artistic approach that I used to do that thing. There are different kinds of Ijele Masquerades. But in this case, I was going to create something very, very striking and shocking to onlookers. If you're doing an art piece, that what we call a contraposture, where you have a magnificent piece in the air and have almost nothing holding it to the ground. I researched and searched on how I could make that work in the air without any support to the ground. I could not. But the best way I can was to make those legs visible so that you'll be imagining the brain and the kind of work and the kind of engineering and thinking that went into creating that. Now, the face of the masquerade is masked. So what we're having showing is just from the belly downwards, which is just purely aesthetic.
They believe that the individual within is without clothes, and that offends them.
No, they didn't go close to see the piece. I created the work. The you see, if you look very closely on the costume of the Ijele Masquerade, you see some ideograms and some stuff around it. It's putting on the shoe. And if you look at it objectively, you wouldn't see, I knew that I was creating something that the world would see. And I was getting ready for whatsoever kind of critique that will come, which is sectional. Everybody has their own impression of what they think it should be. But I feel it's a sculptural piece that depicts the Ijele Masquerade. I read that it is going out of extinction. UNESCO is saying, oh, we just need a way to bring back this thing. How are you going to bring back the Ijele Masquerade? Are you going to bring the Ijele Masquerade standing there forever with a spirit standing in there with clothes, with the harmattan, the rain? Now we're talking about materials with the rain, a breeze. Now imagine a spirit standing there for a very long time. But what are we doing? We've done near a perfect representation of what it should be, so that there will be a point and said, there is this piece that, okay, if nobody does the Ijele Masquerade in years to come, children yet unborn, they will be able to see that, oh, this is what it looks like. Before now, you say, oh, when you go to Obiago roundabout, you see masquerade during Christmas. Are you seeing it now?
No. All right. Now, let me quickly jump in there. 2 final questions for me. Do you think that there's a possibility, do you think that there's a possibility that the masquerade could be covered, as the cultural Prime Minister is, well, evidently trying to suggest maybe a cloth to cover the individual or spirit within carrying the weight of that Ijele? Secondly, final question from me. How do you feel? All right, but I'll drop this because of time. How do you feel that it was the Obi of Onitsha who unveiled and commissioned that sculpture?
Okay, first off, that work was not done with ephemeral materials. That work is done with steel, mild steels, and a whole lot of forging and welding went into that. You can't say clothes. Those things you're saying, people think they are clothes. They are not clothes. They are steel sheets, right? And I didn't just put steel sheets and paint the steel sheets. We have what we call high relief sculptures. All the ideograms you see there were done individually and were placed in there.
No, the question is covering it, you know, the part that is exposed and you see, because I do understand what you are probably trying to create. You wanted people to not just see something that looked like a standalone still picture. You wanted them to know that there was work beneath the surface level, that is movement, that is something within. But what they're saying is that they don't want to see that group, not all, that they don't want to see the inside of the masquerade. No. That they want to assume that there's a spirit inside.
That's a sculptural piece and it's an art piece. And I'm the sculptor, and I feel from the way the researches I have made, I couldn't just cover everything. Because when you cover everything, it becomes to sculptors. I did the work for sculptors all over the world to enjoy, and every other person to enjoy. We want to see the movement of the Ijele.
Definitely.
When the Ijele is moving, it's not just like a roundity piece, just like imagine a bucket dropped on the ground and it's down. Moving. It becomes. So I want to see. I created movement.
Movement. You did.
That's what I wanted to achieve.
All right. Now, quick reaction to the Obi of Onitsha unveiling.
No, I least expected to see him, but he's a great person who has come to unveil the masquerade because he is a great custodian of culture and also a revered art collector all over the world. You know, I've read, he has a lot of fantastic collections, and I'm very, very honored that, you know, he was the one that came to, and I'm very, very grateful to him. And also, I'd like to also use the opportunity to thank His Excellency, Barrister Dr. Peter Ndirisimba, for doing a whole lot of good things to our people. And, you know, you can see it's obvious. There is a cultural resurgimento and a cultural revival in Enugu. And by God's grace, with the way he's going, I'm here to give every kind of support I can as an artist to put up monuments, not just the Ijele Masquerade, many more that would bring tourists from every nook and crannies of the world, because this is what I'm here for. And by God's grace, with him, we could achieve all these things. All right.
Thank you so much, Sunday Chukwu. Oji? Any final question?
It's a great deal. Like, I'm just here listening to you guys and watching him. Yeah, he says a legend where I'm honored and humbled to
have you in our stable again.
Because you don't really know what you did. Like, 100 years to come, thousands years to come, right? You're not going to be here, but you've actually erected something that your name can never, ever go off this planet Earth till, you know, thy kingdom come. So it's a great deal. And thank you very much for, you know, putting your life into this and breathing life into this sculpture.
Into the sculpture, and even still saying that you would be able to continue to maintain it. That, you know, I like the dream that you had, but because of time, we have to draw the curtains right now on the show, on this segment, not on the show, on this segment. But right before I let you guys go, I want to just say that I completely admire the masquerade just as it is. I think it would have looked rather, considering that you're looking at art interpretation, it would have looked rather deadpan, flat, if you had just covered it up and made it look like a bucket turned upside down. The fact that you come to the front and there's some excitement, that structure within, and I wouldn't call it an individual any longer. I can assume that it's a spirit because, like you said, I can't see its face. By the way, you see spirits, all the people that see spirits, or you see spirits being represented in movies, how do you represent a spirit that you don't know what it looks like? You have to find a way as an artist to represent it in a way. So you're actually looking through that looking glass and seeing something beneath the surface. And that, to me, is artistic intelligence. So I think the Ijele is just perfect the way it is. And you put in a lot of work. And if I had seen this anywhere else, even if it wasn't you who did it, I would have still admired it. I'm even beating myself up right now for not taking a proper picture in front of the masquerade, but I will go back.
It's still there. The good thing is it's still there for everybody to enjoy.
Exactly. So watch out for my Instagram page, and well, very soon you might just see me posing like this in front of the Ijele Masquerade. Thank you once again, Sunday Chukwu.
Thank you.